Okay, and so today in Lost at Sea, we're going to look at the midpoint of a line segment. So how to calculate the midpoint. Okay, so here we're given 2 points, A and B, and a line segment between them. So it's the line segment AB, and we are asked to find the midpoint of the line segment. The midpoint is exactly like it sounds. It's the midway point between A here and B here. Okay, and so how would we find the midpoint? Well, very simply, I mean, we can nearly see it here on our diagram. If I was to, for example, to draw in, just to make a triangle or to make a rectangle even out of this, draw a few dashed lines. I could see I'm going up as far as A, or up from A to B there. So I can see I need to go up one line. That's going to be up along the vertical axis. If I go across here, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 units across. So obviously half of 4 is 2. So if I now go across 2 units, well, that's going to mean I'm going to go up here somewhere. And so joining those 2 point lines together, well, this is going to be my midpoint here. So I could nearly see that from the diagram. Obviously, we're not always going to be able to see one that easily, and so we have a midpoint formula. So our midpoint formula tells us that that the midpoint is equal to x1 plus x2 divided by 2. I'm getting the average of the two x coordinates, and I'm also going to get the average of the two y coordinates, so that's going to be y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Okay, so that's going to be our midpoint formula. Alright, so that's very important to get down into your copies. Likewise, this explanation here of the midpoint. So it's the halfway point between 2 points on a coordinated or Cartesian plane. Okay, and we'll do this example again and see do we come up with the same midpoint. So our midpoint here for C was that C is going to be at -1, comma 2. Okay, so let's work it out again and see if we get the same thing. And so in order to do this using the midpoint formula, well, I'm going to start by writing down my points. So the point A is the point, it's -3 on the x-axis, and it's 1 on the y-axis. The point B then is 1 on the x-axis and 3 on the y-axis. Okay, and so straight away I'm going to label these points. This is x1, y1, x2, and y2. And then very simply, I'm going to fill into my formula. So I'm going to say the midpoint is equal to, well, x1 is -3, and that's going to be plus, and x2 is 1, and they're both going to be divided by 2. And then likewise, I'm going to have y1, which is 1, and that's going to be plus, and y2, in this case, is 3. And again, I'm going to divide that by 2. Okay, and very simply tidying that up, well, -3 plus 1, that's going to be -2 divided by 2, and 1 plus 3 is 4 divided by 2. And so, well, that's going to be equal to -2 divided by 2 is -1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. And so that's our answer for the midpoint. And just to confirm it, -1, 2, well, here is -1, and there's 2. So we're correct. C is equal to -1, 2. And I need to just write the C down there. Okay? Okay, and we're going to do one more example. So we can see here from our diagram, we have 2 points again, A and B, and we're asked to find the midpoint. So again, I start off and I write down my 2 points. So I have A is -3, -1, and B is the point 3, comma, minus 3. Okay, and again, I'm going to label the points x1, y1, x2, y2. And my midpoint formula, well, it's the midpoint is equal to x1, the two x coordinates added together, divided by 2, and the two y coordinates added together, divided by 2. Okay, and so here I'm just simply going to fill them in. So I'm going to say C is equal to, well, x1 is minus 3 plus x2 is going to be 3. And then that is divided by 2, the average of the both. And my comma in between because it's a coordinated plane. And y1 is going to be minus 1 and it's plus. And this time y2 is minus 3. So I'm going to put that into brackets. And that's going to be over 2. And that's... So now I'm on to my next line. So C is equal to, well, again, my brackets for coordinates, minus 3 plus 3, that's going to be 0 divided by 2, and minus 1 plus minus 3. Well, a plus by a minus is a minus, so I could just write a little minus there above that. So minus 1 minus 3, same signs add, SSA, so minus 1, minus 3, 1 and 3 is 4, and I keep my minus sign, and that's going to be all over 2. Okay, and then just tidying that up, C is going to be equal to, well, 0 divided by 2 is 0, and minus 4 divided by 2 is minus 2, and that's our answer. And if I were to draw that into my diagram here, 0 on the x-axis is here, and down as far as minus 2. And I can even see, just drawing that in, that is pretty much, I can see it there, it's exactly halfway if I was to draw a little line here. Obviously with your rulers, yours will be better, but I can see that's pretty much equidistant from the 2 points. Okay, so learn and check for now when you get this done. So make sure these notes are in your copy and then give the learn and check a try. Okay, so the learn and check is 4 different parts, so complete them all in your maths copy.